Hey y'all, hope y'all are doing good. I know it's been a long time since I've posted an episode here, but got busy with a lot of things in life that I had to shift my priorities and energy towards. And then this mod pack, as usual, always has its surprises where I have to do major projects first before getting things settled. So I had to do a lot of grinding and material processing to make this episode. So this episode definitely required a lot of time with ambition and, well, maybe I should be confessing this, but procrastination too as well. So yeah, this episode done with a little bit of grinding, sweat, and a touch of procrastination. But at the end of this, I see it being very rewarding for the very long time of this. So hope you all enjoy the episode. Hey everybody, damn serious again. So I just want to bring some good skinny for y'all. Admittedly, it's been a long time, but I've been busy with other things in real life, but I've also been grinding heavily on top of things too as well. Had some unexpected tasks through GTNH to take care of here, so one of the biggest things I've done off camera though, it's just kind of something I did on my own, because realizing that I need to have something done first, is that I needed to stabilize power first. So the good news is, I got the steam boiler being able to run at full capacity all the time. Everything being properly supplied. I just needed to have made like 24 coke ovens here. So that way I can add the creosote and the charcoal necessary to keep that boiler burning. I've also decided to change out the solid fuel boiler box, the liquid boiler boxes for the high pressure boiler here for the solid ones, because burning a creosote bucket will grant you an additional 1600 burn ticks compared to burning a bucket worth of creosote in a liquid boiler. So I'm actually getting more energy doing it this way, on top of me feeding all the charcoal through a basic compressor. So I'm also getting an additional 1600 burn time worth of fuel with the combined fuel at once here. Now I do have like a system that's automatically supplying creosote into buckets, but I can't do it directly through the iron tanks. Railcraft won't let me do that. However, GregTech will. So I made a LV fluid tank to where any empty buckets will be automatically filled in and outputted and sucked through by a hopper back into the boiler boxes here. And whenever this boiler boxes consumes fuel, the bucket will be put back into the bucket output slot just to be sucked up by a hopper, back into the fluid tank, and the cycle keeps repeating. Now I only have like 3 buckets worth of system in there to guarantee that the 4th slot is available for a solid fuel. Theoretically, I should be able to keep that going without having extra slots being obstructing to all the sources of fuel. But even if that does happen, where I happen to have a rare case where all the charcoal will block everything off here for creosote oil, no biggie. Eventually, this will back up the creosote oil to the point where these will start working, which will stop creosote production, but we'll still have charcoal to produce, to consume. So eventually creosote will start producing once all the charcoal runs out. Now as long as it's able to visually switch back and forth with some sort of fuel source to burn, it should be able to causing enough demand for either one of the types of fuels in the future. Now the reason why it's stocked up on charcoal right now is because I'm burning all the excess of charcoal that I was building up while I was upgrading the boiler system. Now, I've got the fuel situation sorted out first, but I came across a problem of having enough water supplied. You do not want a hot boiler on an empty water reservoir being supplied water. Boom, otherwise. I don't know, but I don't think I would be having a pleasant blast with that. So I wound up making like an additional 10 more of the water tank sidings. And that's enough to have a slight overproduction of water, which is good. I can use this water for the next project that this episode is supposed to be revolving around. Previous episode, I mentioned I want to make a large ore processing wall, or walls, I should say. Well, I spent all the painful grinding on GTNH here into making all these. Now, sure, yeah, I could just take the quick route and make like a large steam macerator or something like that to process ore real fast. That would save me a lot of time, yes, but you know, I want to be able to get the most out of each ore. Hence why I'm going for the basic ore washing plant through the macerators and the centrifuges. This should quadruple my current ore processing right now. Once I get this fully built up. Like, yes, I know there's only 6 of these, but that's because, like, I know it's only like a triple output quantity of machines here, but that's because I have a single complete ore processing system set up already. So I will be cannibalizing this to incorporate into the machine walls here I'm wanting to make. It's just a matter of making all the materials for the pipes, cables, and fluid pipes, and just feeding it through in this whole section of the wall here. If I've done spatial reasoning right, I should be able to have all the machines just occupy only this small section here for ore processing. And if all goes right, all things will be working efficiently, and there should be no setbacks as long as I'm wise with how much water I'm consuming. Now, to address a quick problem, as noticed in the previous episode, is the ore washing plant stalling. Each of these consume like 16 EUs per tick. 2 of these together will bring a 32 EU per tick total for this whole steam turbine that produces like 32 EUs worth of energy. Problem is energy lost through the tin cables. Tin cables are like they're like what, 1 EU loss per cable length? Let me type that up real quick here. Yeah, 1 EU volt per length per cable. Now, I was concerned about whether or not there's a lossless version of the LV cable for GTNH here. Turns out there is. That's some good skinny there. It's called Redstone Alloy Cable. Now, of course, with this here, I'm going to need a electric blast furnace to make these. However, considering the fact that they're lossless, will guarantee that the 2 ore washing plants will always be able to be constantly running all the time. And then all I gotta do is, if I need to make more of these in the future, put redstone, silicon, and coal powder through the mixer there. I already got lots of these produced already. It's just a matter of stepping through the electric blast furnaces, and I'll eventually be replacing the tin cables with these red alloy cables in the future. That will be coming around the corner at some point. So that way I can get the most efficiency out of the system. My whole goal here with this whole GTNH setup, even though I'm very slow at it, I'm slow because I want to make all the machines that will get the most out of every ounce of resource that I feed into it. This way, I don't have to be investing so much effort in mining everything else, all the ore, stuff like that, when I could be just focusing more towards the machines. Plus, too, if I get like a ore processing machine wall, stuff like that, it should be set in stone in a good stance to be able to process things relatively quickly for MV tier, while also being able to get the most out of each ore as possible. So there's all sorts of benefits that can arise from this. And it will also allow me to process a lot of things too as well, so that way I don't have to spend so much time waiting for additional parts to be made. So, I'm going to go ahead and start building up all the machines and stuff, so I will present to y'all a time-lapse of this. I should be very mindful with what I do with the shift button when it comes to hooking up wooden pipes to steam pipes like that. Ooh, at least I didn't blow any machines up with a fire. You know, me assembling this machine wall just didn't feel right. The machines were placed correctly, but I was like trying to remember what to do with the pipes. I looked back to my creative test world and I realized, oh snap, I'm going completely against to what I've built in the creative test world and what I've drawn on paper planning this machine wall. Engineer's advice with this mod pack here, as a DragTech engineer here, if you got documents to work with, refer to them to make sure you're correct about it. It will help you save some time in the future. Alright. So I actually processed all the copyright just right with the ore washing wall. So it looks like the ore washing wall so far is a success. Oh no, don't tell me cast that's supposed back here. They're not big. And this is why you test things out and see how things go. Because you never know to catch small things like this. So yeah, everything seems to be slowly stacking up. Cast-right sand will definitely overload the system because you get like 4 pieces of the crushed products. So that should be more than enough to overflow the system there, to keep everything running all the time. So far it's holding up well. I did have to add more pipes to the back of the boiler here though. Machines here weren't exactly getting enough steam to run off of. So what I did there basically forces more output to flow through. Alright, few more machines to work with. Here comes another time lapse. Alright, so I pretty much got the whole ore processing wall and stuff set up. I did have to do some slight changes though and make the item transfer tubes bigger so that way these machines get at peak performance a lot quicker. I also forgot to make an extra turbine. However, this turbine's only powering 4 EUs worth of machineries at first, so I went ahead and hooked that up to a bunch of electric furnaces. That won't be causing issues right there whatsoever. So this works. I'll stick with that improvised solution. But yeah, I got this whole washing plant working here now. Problem is, it's sucking up too much water for it to be able to run all the time. And 2, it's really depleting the tank sidings real fast. So I will need to expand the tank sidings even further in the future. In the meantime, I just have to rely on letting all that stuff just cache up as water passes through, and things will be fine momentarily for now until I can get this going. And besides, I'm probably not going to be processing all the time anyway, so if I do add more tank sidings, probably won't have to be extremely huge. But yeah, I also had to route another set of pipes, branching off from the more bigger pipe network setup here, so that way I can supply steam to the other side of the turbines. I was having a problem having one of those turbines being short on steam, so this pretty much fixes the shortage issue, especially with all these machines sharing the same pipe network, so that seems to be a working solution to that. I got the furnaces here. Furnaces are working at peak capacity. With how much... Wow, that's less than 10 minutes and just processed all that. Cool. Now with the centrifuge system here, I'm having to make use of like two hopper system and a two large line system here. I'm thinking that I'm going to have to expand further on this in order to have most of the macerators be working all the time. Then again, it does look like it's slowly building up. I've seen all 8 macerators run at once here, and at most 7 centrifuges here. It's 42 seconds here. Oh, silver. Silver takes a little time to process, and it's... yeah. So these machines are definitely able to process things through. Clearly, silver's going to take a lot of time, but other metals, though, are able to process relatively quickly. And on average, with the castrate sand and copper, I find the centrifuges process them, the dust and stuff, a lot quicker than a macerator can. So that's something for me to take account of. But yeah, look at all that. All that processed in an hour. In theory, all these should be able to run together all at once simultaneously. Man, that's a lot of copper. It actually makes me feel encouraged to start doing a lot more mining just to overstock on materials for a while. Especially with copper and on iron. Copper being the biggest one. If I hit NV, I'm going to early on be relying on copper for the wiring. Until I can find a lossless version of that. But yeah, despite the bugs I can groom out with the system though, overall, this is a success. I just gotta watch how much water the system sucks up though. This way the boiler here doesn't get cavitated. The last thing I need is have that high pressure boiler. Wow, that's 60,000 sucked up in less than 10 minutes. I'm going to have to see how this boiler reacts to the hydrocavitation here, so I'm hoping that that the water with it going through the boiler first will be prioritized towards the boiler before the macerators, or the ore washing plants, excuse me. I also started experimenting around with some remaining blocks for some ceilings. Not a bad style. Just add a little bit of color to the gray tile, so let's do that. And I have to figure out how to decorate the pipe stuff like that. I can hide a bunch of pipes here and there, so that we only see machines and the paneling. But yeah, things look like they're coming together now. I'll just have to keep up with everything. Whether or not I'm going to be continuing on expanding the water supply or making an automatic tree farm, well, that's up to debate with me for the moment on what to do. I'll have to check around with a few things in terms of what the mod pack has to offer. But yeah, this is very big progress. And with this setup here being the way it is, it should help me process through a lot of ores real fast. So I should be able to have all the materials in stock all the time. It's just a matter of having them processed into intermediate materials like wires, plates, which is something that I have to keep these machines running at all the time. Man, I don't like these machines being so noisy, but right now, this being done, me being proud, it all sounds absolutely beautiful. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm afraid of. It's pulling away from the boiler. Well, at least I don't have to worry about severing the water line from the boiler whenever the boiler starts running low on water. I do that to make sure that water doesn't enter in the boiler. As I mentioned before, no water should be going into an empty hot boiler. It will explode if you do. Anyways, I can keep on yakking about this all day, but I think I'm just going to go ahead and wrap up this episode. By far, it's probably the episode that I'm probably most proud of with what's been set up here. Not to mention, it took me a long time to set this whole thing up. Whether or not the Steam Macerator is worth it, well, who knows? All I know is with this, I'll be squeezing every ounce of material if I can out of every ore. That is until I hit MV tier. With MV, I'll have to do something a little different because Macerators will have a secondary output. And I don't think the centrifuge is going to accept the secondary outputs. Anyways, enough with the knowledgeable squirrel here. I will see y'all sometime around next episode, and y'all take care. Bye-bye. As final word, this machine wall is now the mark of a big beginning. Things with this series is about to get juicy.